Hey, 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 what do you say? It is the Swypit Show right here on the Success Network. And of course, you can see us when we do our little things. We're going to put some little snippets of today out there in the next couple of weeks. You'll be able to pick up and watch this. Right now, though, we're live. And if you like what you see, please tap that little button that likes it and maybe even share it on your network because, we've got a really big star on the show today. I mean, super duper star. This guy is amazing. But before we get into Steven, man, I just got back from nice little get out of town, enjoying myself with the fam. I got a little sunburn, I got nice and tan. You can't really tell here on the camera, but I got a little darker. I enjoyed myself. Went out. We had I haven't had like a real vacation with the family in over 6 years, so uh, rented a little private little place on this little private kind of island. You had to have a boat to get there. Cost a small fortune, and I guess over 6 years, I guess all that money that I would have spent every year leading up to obviously, but it was perfect. We rented a boat and we went out on this boat all by ourselves, a big $1 million boat. It was amazing. Scuba diving. Well, not scuba, snorkeling. I love scuba diving. And, sometimes you got to do some, well, snorkeling. So, anyways, it was a lot of fun. And I got to see my kids jump into the Gulf of Mexico for the first time ever. I called it the ocean. It's salt water. Ocean, when it's salt water, it's ocean to me. Okay. I think I can go with that, right? How about my wife just relaxing on the boat as well. She jumped in for about 10 seconds and was like, "Okay, I'm in." I mean, you're just looking at like ocean, right? It's just flat ocean and this $1 million boat just driving down, go over to this little beach where we got out of the boat and walked in and got on a little island, took a quick picture there. It didn't come out very well. I don't think you'll see that picture. And then, of course, we, ate some awesome food. I even hired a professional photographer because we hadn't had any real photography done of our family by a professional. All of us together since I think the kids were like 5 years old. My buddy George in New York, I remember growing up going to his house, and you'd go into the house, and on one of the walls, George would have like the family photo, that he has like a gazillion family members, so it's like 20, 30 people in this picture, but it changed like every year or so. And quite honestly, I felt a little guilty that I didn't do it for so many years. So I hired a private photographer to come out and take some pics of us out there. Listen, you only live once. You know what I mean? You got to do things in your life that you can really enjoy. But when you go out and do it right, you know? Just have some fun. Sometimes you got to, go out there and do things. Maybe it costs a little more money, but man, those are memories. And there's a picture I did with my son in this one little Ron John surf shop store of all these crazy things. My wife was going, she was giving me the evil eye, like, what are you doing? Don't make a, but we were having fun anyways, putting on crazy hats and stuff. You just live once, right, people? You just live once. Have fun at it. And that's why I have people that I know that I could recommend for things. We're always looking for the swipe it inner circle people. We're always looking for the right person to info about them to people and saying, "Hey, listen, this is the guy." You got a painter, right? You've got maybe a photographer, maybe you have whatever it is that you have that you refer. Listen, I just found the best cake, the best cheesecake, the best key lime pie. Man, I was eating key lime pie like crazy, and lobster and stuff. Anyways, you might have that. Well, guess what? At my company at Swypit, SWYPIT.com. Of course, you may know the place. Like, look, right here. But what you do is you become part of our inner circle and you get access to people like the individual that you're getting ready to meet here. This guy here, he started an organization and he's been doing a lot of it through networking, just like Swipe It for over 20 years. You get a group of people that you can respect, you like and you trust them, and then you refer them to others. And I'm going to tell you, this guy created a company, an insurance organization. We're going to talk a little bit about that and get him involved with, we're going to make him working for Swypit. That's what we're going to do. He's hired. Okay, dude. He is a marketing guy. He is ready to go. His name is Mr. Steven Guilfoile. Bring him on in, Ryan. Of course, he's the president and CEO of AffordaCare Insurance. And of course, he is part of our inner circle. So if you own a business and you have insurance, need insurance, we're talking healthcare. And we're talking like ways that he's going to discuss that nobody else is doing it that way. Because you know what? I'm working with him now. And you know what? When I heard of his unique practice and the way he does it, I was like, I'm all over this because I'm unique. I do things unique. And I like to have my inner circle with those unique things. So, Steven, welcome to the show, my friend. Glad to have you here.
Dude, thanks for having me. And wait, by the way, great job taking some time for you. You were probably one of the hardest working people I know, and you deserve to take that break. So I'm really happy for you. Glad you had a good time with that. Sweet.
Well, I appreciate it. Now I got to make some money to pay for all that crap. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you go in thinking it's going to be this much. It actually turned out to be this much. So I'm like, man, I got to go make some money now. Right?
Hey,
Man.
special occasion. I wore my stamp socks today for you. So
Ooh, man, look at
special
those,
occasion on
baby.
a special day for a special guy. So they get
I love that.
they get broken out.
I appreciate that. And you got your really nice you got your little suit on. You showed me on the inside. It looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And of course, what do you got on your wrist there? What do you
Matching.
got?
We get matching watches. So there you go too.
Oh my god. See, I love people that have similar tastes. Listen, when you work hard and you have taken risks and you have sacrificed and you have eaten macaroni and cheese for days and at the end of the time and you put in the work, go and do the things that you want to do, right? Go get things that you need. Let's talk about Steven and ask him what you think. I mean, if you got some questions or something, and it's because this is live right now. If you got some questions, go ahead and ask them. We'll ask them. I don't care what it is. Ask him what color his underwear is. I don't know. Listen, what we're doing today is talking about Steven and what makes Steven's company and how it works. So if you got questions, ask away. But me, I'm curious, Steven, you went to college. What was it that you thought that when you were going to college that you actually were going to be doing, not what you're doing today? Because I know I'm a chef and I didn't go to college to be the crazy credit card guy. So what did you go to college to do?
So I knew I wanted to do something with business, but always in my core cores, I did sports in high school and college. I was a personal trainer as well, and so with that comes a lot of that belief that you got one body to live in and you better take care of it. And so kind of the healthcare became I guess, kind of a good strategic kind of next step, because again it's the same kind of mindset. Instead of an individual, we're looking at a lot of companies. How do we make companies be better, smarter, healthier, and all the different things, productivity, that comes from that. And so that's just a small part of what we're doing, but it's a really really cool journey of what's where it started, and of course where it is now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but I worked 4 jobs, put myself through college. And one of those jobs, I actually worked at McDonald's. Tell me, did you ever work at a fast food restaurant or anything like that?
So I don't even know if you know this question you just asked, but that was my first job also, was McDonald's. So
What?
so
Serious?
everything that we're doing, we didn't buy watches together or anything else, but like it's almost like the parallel universe with you. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But yeah,
you know what?
go
What's
ahead.
that? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say how, I mean, at a very young age, it was like, even in middle school and high school, like how many hours can I, work? And I think it was $5 an hour or something back then. And it
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it wasn't necessarily about the money you're making. It was the mindset of that you had to say, this is where I want to be, and even at McDonald's, right? Being able to like level up and get promotions or get higher dollar amounts. And so I think that mindset's more important than anything, of regardless of whatever you're doing. If you have that desire and you have that the finish line of where you want to be, I think that's probably the most important part. So for
Yeah,
me,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So, like, when I've actually been in McDonald's and I've looked at the people that working there, and I said, "Hey, listen, I just want you," and I'll just say something to them like, "Hey, listen, hard work, and consistency and following the programs they've put in place here will are going to give you things that you don't even realize of how important they're going to be for you in your future. And I
Yeah.
like leave, and they're probably like, "Who was that
You
guy?"
just look
You
around
know?
like, did I do something wrong, or is this one of those secret shoppers or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I don't know if you remember this. Listen, this was 1985 for me. I don't know what year it was for you, but there was like this little closet in the back that they sat you down. It was like the manager's office or whatever it was, and they had a TV. I swear to God, it probably wasn't bigger than this phone, right? So it was a little TV, maybe two phones, right? So it was like this big. And I remember having to watch like the McDonald's videos. And I was like, what? What am I watching here? This is how you do the floors. And they had like a packet for like you'd put into the water to do the floors. And then and you're looking at all the stuff here in this little closet of all the cleaning solutions.
Yeah, with all the black
But
mold and everything down there. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, but, I loved that, I would steal a little chicken nugget every so often. It was really an interesting place to work, and you learned, like, there are things in place for a reason, and the bathrooms were always over there or whatever it was. They had their segment of how the business was set up for a reason. The counter was a certain way, and you had to meet with the people in so many seconds. Today, man, none of that shit is in play. None of it. It's just so different. But I really enjoyed that time. But when you worked there, what did you do? I'm just curious.
Well, that closet is actually where I went to eat all my little chicken nuggets, and chew on them and stuff too. So I know that
Yeah,
closet very well. But no,
yeah,
I was the back. I was the grill guy. So I was the flipping the hamburger guy, and the thing where they push it down and it cooks all of them at once, and then I get promoted
yeah.
to do the deep fryer. So I was a dual threat there too.
You're the fry guy.
Yeah.
I didn't like working the fries, man. I did not like working fries. I didn't do it very often. I was the cook dude when you were doing the burgers, but it was before they had the press. So like you had to break apart the patties and then you would lay them out really fast and then you'd watch and they had a timer and then you'd press the button and as soon as you flipped them over, you had the little onions. You had a little onion
Yeah.
and then you have this thing that it was like a special it made 4 little drops of ketchup and mustard, and you clunk, 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 clunk. I don't know if they do it like that anymore. They
No,
probably got a complete.
yeah, I mean, again, I'm showing my age. It's probably, some robots do it now, but yeah, it was the assembly line and you go through the stuff. Yeah. No, it's funny how they probably haven't changed it. And again, if it's, not broken, don't fix it, right? So
Yeah, yeah. So, there was a little secret I once told my mother, and she still tries to do it to this day. I think she still does. But the way you get, like, I would always want, like, a fresh burger or I wanted fresh french fries. Sometimes the french fries sat there for, a couple minutes or whatever. But the way you would get fresh french fries, I'd tell my mother, is that you would ask for no salt on them, and then you'd have to make new french fries. And she's like, "I always get the hottest french fries now that you told me that." So,
it,
you know,
Kevin, you're gonna be charging for this. This is insider information that very few people know. So if you're tuning in, I mean that's worth the price of admission right there.
there you go. All right, we're done here because now we can go get some McDonald's.
All right, let's go.
Um, let's go. I will tell you this. I still eat at McDonald's. I know that their standards of how they run their restaurants are really super high. And there was a period of time that I wanted to actually have my own McDonald's franchise. And when I was working in the yachting industry and I jumped ship, I went to go and look to
Literally.
see how much it was. And this was back in 96, 97, and I think it was still like maybe $2 million or some crazy amount of money. And I'm sitting here going, let me see, I got one, two, $3, $4. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna make that. But I did look at a Wendy's franchise because it was a lot less money. And I just was like, man, I'm a McDonald's guy though, you know? Mm, I don't know. Where
Hey,
do you go? Do you go to
things
McDonald's
worked
still?
out okay.
Wait a minute, what's that? I missed that.
I said things worked out okay though for you. So I'm glad that you know it's gonna go however it goes, and you made the most of it. So
Yeah, it's a little different. I get the opportunity to not work when other people are working typically. I like while I do a lot of 10, 12-hour days, it's if I wanted to, step away for, 3 minutes, I could. McDonald's, you're stuck, man. The line is just endless. You ever see those drive-throughs, man? And they got the stupid little head things they wear. I don't know who else is wearing those. I remember getting them from somebody else going, "Dude, did you even shower today?" You know?
Yeah.
They only had like 2 of them. They'd be taped together if somebody dropped them. It was fun. I gotta go back and find out who owns that McDonald's. I worked at it in Kingston, New York. So if you're listening from Kingston, New York, there was a McDonald's. It was the only McDonald's, I think, in Kingston, and it was amazing and I mean, I've driven past it. I think there was a Dunkin' Donuts next door too. I used to get some Dunkin' Donuts. Anyways, Steven, tell me, what the heck are you doing today? So you went from McDonald's to insurance, or did you have some other, like, little jobs in between? Talk to me.
I saw that little segue there, the what the heck from the old school days. I like
That's right, the What the Heck Show.
I caught that. So yeah, that's what I was doing in high school. Went to college, had a just like you, like 4 or 5 jobs all throughout where I'd work my day job at the gym, and then I'd also work an overnight shift, another job. So I was probably getting maybe 110, 120 hours a weekend between school just because I was getting paid to sleep and doing all this kind of stuff and overnight stuff. And it wasn't necessarily that it was, a love of the job, but it was just again that kind of like we talked about earlier, the desire of just kind of knowing of where you wanted to be and knowing that, I don't care what it necessarily is per se. I just know I want it to be a successful outcome, and so if you're willing to put the time in, everything else kind of takes care of itself. So after college, I went to apply for a couple different jobs, got turned down. These were all like $8.50 an hour kind of jobs. And so I felt really bummed when I didn't get those. And so I was approached by a company to do strictly door to door, no straight commission, pay for all your hotels, your lodging, your food, all the expenses. It was kind of like what most people kind of look at as maybe like the worst case scenario job. But it was the opportunity of the potential of what that could have been, which really intrigued me. And so 5 years in, made my first million at that, and realized that there was kind of a bigger, better way to do things. And so again, working through other companies, you find that see the good things, you see the bad things, and you try to make, emulate the things that you want to take from that. And how to treat people, how to treat customers, and things like that. So through all those different iterations, that's where AffordaCare came from. And it has just been a dream come true because it allows us to work with people just like you, Kevin, that see the same desire of how you want to treat a customer. And it's just been an incredible opportunity for everything. So
Yeah.
again, thank you for having me on. And there's so many things that we see in you that we emulate and try to do a lot of things of, especially how you treat customers. And it's just it's an incredible thing that you guys have going on too. So congratulations on your end.
Well, listen, I appreciate that, obviously. I mean, I'm just a guy trying to make a living and want to treat people the way I want to be treated and do the things. I've been in positions where others have been in that they've just had no support or service. So I've been like, I'm never going to do that to people. Prime example, I got back yesterday. It's 5:30. I got a call from a client. I'm driving back to the house. I got the luggage. And then a message comes across and says, "Hey, you got to go check this out." I mean, I'm hands on. I jumped in my car and I went over to a client that just opened up one of their other locations, and the stuff wasn't working. Now, with that said, I kind of went through some things and realized it had nothing to do with me. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but at the end of the day, it turned out to being something else that I was able to help with. I could have probably done one of those things to redo something, but I don't want to touch other people's things. So at the end of the day, I got home at 9 o'clock. I kind of missed out spending a little bit more evening with my family, but hey, that's the life I live of helping people, being on call whenever they need us. Extremely hands on in my company, so people know that they're getting things accomplished. But hey, listen, That's what we do, right? The reason people are successful in life is they're willing to do a lot of things that others aren't willing to do. They don't know what the sacrifices are of actually being high level in their organizations. And that's why you are where you're at. And this is why, we've struggled a long, long time ago. And in those years of working many things and doing different stuff and enjoying what we were doing then, we knew that there was a path. We just didn't know how that path would get us to where we needed to go until we took some risks. And when you took those risks, you started up AffordaCare. And, in the beginning, you were probably like, oh my God, is this really going to work? Or did you feel that you knew it didn't matter? It was gonna work, and you were like, "It's gonna be bigger than anything." What were you, like, a little scared in the beginning? Tell me there was a little fear there.
Well, with what you were saying earlier is, when you're doing over and beyond what's right for your client, they see that 20 minutes, right, that you took,
Yep.
and that lasts for 20 years of a lifetime of that relationship. And so, at the time when you started, we basically had, the contracts, the relationships, the everybody kind of in place to do it. So it wasn't necessarily a thing of is this going to work or not, but it definitely was a really big step. And so there was a lot of things that learn a lot with it. And when it's your money, we kind of joke around and there's different, ways to kind of look at college where, would you pay $100,000 for the education, but not the degree? Or would you pay $100,000 for the knowledge, but you don't get the degree or vice versa? And so that's one of
Mm.
those things where it's a very interesting kind of thing. It's why you're actually going to college. Are you going for the paper? Are you going for the knowledge? And so when it comes to business, you're spending your money and you're losing your own money, that's probably one of the greatest teaching methods that you'll ever have. I think as a business owner is when the pain that comes with it,
I
just kind
gotta
of like,
write that down,
right.
Steven, man. You're good, dude.
So with your parents, right? You're 5 years old, you touch the stove, and or you're about to, and mom's like, "Don't do it, it's gonna hurt," and you're like, "You know what? I think I know better than mom. I'm gonna do it." Right, and then you get burned, and it's like, "All right, no, now not to do that again." But it takes you getting hurt to truly learn how that feeling is. And so I feel like when you're been in business and you've had the good and the bad, that's what causes you, I think, to truly appreciate the money and how it didn't come overnight and it was a struggle. And I think if you're a new business and you're starting out with it, I think that's a super important thing to realize that if you persevere, things will get better as long as you believe in yourself and have all you're doing the right things. But it takes a long, long time to do that.
Yeah,
And
exactly, exactly. And you know what? To your point, people think that you just start a business and you turn the light on and you're going to make millions of dollars. They don't understand the struggle to be successful in business, and that the percentages of successful businesses are very small, and that they don't see you know the time when the electricity was turned off or you were living in your car or whatever it may be, right? They never see all that. They only see the glamorous part, because now it's like, why? I used to ask people, and I'm going to ask you this: when is it okay to be successful or show that you're successful?
well, I think there's no timeline of doing it. I think some people just see, hey, it will be a 5 or 10 year timeline. And also, we look at it as, why can't it be tomorrow? Like somebody's gonna have that relationship, someone's gonna get that sale, someone's gonna accomplish this. There's no timeline being put on you to say you gotta wait X number of years to do it. And
Yeah,
the tough thing that I guess I'll say on that is when with our business, it's very much just like yours is as well, where I think we again copied each other in that, where it is strictly almost 99 to 100% strictly relationship built stuff. We have a lot of big sponsorships and things we've done, but in terms of like mass campaigns or text messages or all these kind of informal things, our sales are usually to bigger size businesses. And so again, just like in your case too, you're not going to just get some text message of some multi-$100 million CEO on a Saturday night being like, "Oh, I
right.
just got text, let me get insurance from this guy," right? It's a bigger play, and sometimes this takes years and years if not decades to do. And
Yes.
so in the 12 years that we've been doing this, I'd say the toughest thing for, our staff and our agents is realizing that it takes a long time. You got to be patient with it. And so the analogy I kind of equate to this is with bamboo. And if you've heard the story of that, when you first plant a bamboo tree, it's growing roots under the surface and it's basically getting its foundation. But it takes over 5 years for that to even break ground. And so when you're
Yeah.
starting your business, you have all your friends, your family seeing you watering this piece of dirt and making no progress. And so it's easy for other people to get an hourly job or just, do what they're doing. They got little dandelions that are growing up almost immediately, instant results, gratification, right? So if you truly believe in something, you got to have that steadfastness, that knowing that you're going to go out and water that every day with no visual results. But then when that finally breaks ground, I think it's something like 50 or 75 feet, it grows in like 5 weeks. So now you're a tree in the amount of time that someone else could spend a lifetime making $20 an hour. So there's a huge risk and reward with that. But it's, again, it's believing in yourself enough for that to happen.
Yes. Well, I love that because, I try to tell people all the time, I go, there's risk and reward, but there's calculated risk with huge rewards. And if you're planning the right way, you make those seeds and those seeds get planted and then things just kind of blossom. And then the next thing you know, there's another tree and then another tree,
Yeah.
and another tree. And then you create these inner circle trees, and these other trees start living off of some of the little aspects of life of the other trees. And that's what's kind of like being part of the Swipe It Inner Circle. And the Swiper Inner Circle gives me the ability to let my clients not have to wait so long to find the right people for a lot of the things that they need in their business. And if they want to be successful, we've already done a lot of the work for them. And so we've already been struggling in those many years ago to do things and get new clients. And while they're still in that struggling phase and or need assistance, we could kind of push them in the right direction with the right resources. And that's why when our clients start working with us, they get not just Swipe It, they get AffordaCare. They get, you know, organizations that are there to assist. I don't care what it is they're looking for. We typically have a great connection in there and we help them out. We want to see people be successful in life. We
Yeah.
can give people all the tools, but if they choose the wrong things, like if you're trying to cut a steak with a spoon and you're going to continuously try to use that spoon to cut that steak, you're probably going to starve. And at the end of the day, use the right tools. And your tool at how you do things with AffordaCare is way different. Talk to me about how your process at AffordaCare is a little different.
Well, let me just add, Kevin, that I've seen you cook steaks, and I think you could cut that with a spoon, just for the record. So I think,
Maybe.
yeah. But for your average guy who's grilling, I agree that's probably for some pretty tough steaks. So yeah, what we do here is kind of a much longer play, and a lot of it's the word I use is being proactive versus reactive. And when it comes to company plans, if you guys who are listening that have a group health plan for your employees, a lot of times you'll see these like 10, 20, even 40% increases year after year. And of course, it's not sustainable, but the method of how they issued that policy wasn't sustainable. So again, we're a national broker. We're using all the same big name companies that you've already heard of. So you're not changing the carriers, you're changing the process of how it's issued. And so a really good example to do that is that or to equate it to is if you've ever bought car insurance or house insurance, there's some information the insurance company is taking on based on, if you've had 5 fires in the last 5 houses you've lived, the zip code you live in, things like that,
Oops.
amount of hail, things. And so when it comes, or with car insurance, right? If you have a bunch of DUIs and hit and runs and car accidents, you're going to have a higher rate than other people, right? And so when it comes to health insurance, most groups are basically just taking the first rate that comes to them as just a blanket price. And what they're
Okay,
not
I'll take
factoring,
that.
yeah, and they're not
Yeah, they
factoring
like to
in
settle. People like to settle, right?
exactly, yeah. And
I'm
so
not a
it's
settler.
it's
You're
the
not a
path of least
settler.
resistance, right? And so what they're seeing is saying, "Here's my rate, let me take it," and they're not actually having the due diligence of actually having an agency like us actually helping with the underwriting and actuarial help that we can do. And so not only it's our existing book of clients that we can get a better rate from that, but also on the ability to be again proactive in that initial policy. So we're not taking away people, we're not excluding anybody, we're not rating people because of the health, but we're giving the group credit where credit's due. And so traditionally, most insurance is rating on the worst case scenario, and we're saying, well, if you're not 20 people ready to, on your deathbed, there's way better ways to issue it and underwrite it. So that's probably, if I had to say it in one 30-second elevator pitch, that'd probably be it.
Awesome.
All right.
Listen, this is why, I love referring my clients to you because, it's a while it's a people can have things simple in life or they can make things really difficult. And I find that the people that love to make things difficult, they do it. I don't know why they do it, but they do it and they then are unhappy. So if they find somebody that has already done all the research in the best way, it may take a little longer because I think like even our process was a few more weeks. There was a little going back and forth with how things work with myself, but it wasn't because of you, it was because of us. And obviously you kind of answered we had to answer a bunch of questions. We had to go through a process and we knew that what we wanted and then we had to, go, okay, we wanted this or we wanted that. And it was easier to work with somebody that knew what the heck they were doing. I mean, I've found that I've worked with people in the past who will just, like you said earlier, give a blanket number. Okay, it's $5,000. And people go, okay, I guess that's what it is. You could walk into Best Buy, and this maybe they don't want to hear this, but there's not enough people listening anyways. I'm going to say it. But you can walk into Best Buy, you see the cost of a TV. Let's just say it's $500. Go, hey, do you think you could do something better for me on that? Just see what happens. I promise you, they're gonna go, "Yeah, let's see what we can do." The problem is people settle so much, and when they settle, they're just following the leader. They don't realize that there are little secrets in life that they can actually stop settling for. I'm not the settler guy. I'm not necessarily a guy that's cheap either. I think there's ways to go about life being cost conscious and not being cheap. And when you're cost conscious and you have enough resources and ability to get better deals on things, it's because you just are in a position to go, hey, I wonder, can you do something a little better on that? There's nothing wrong with asking. They may just say, no, no, we can't do it. And I go, well, come on. You can
Yeah.
push them a little bit, right? Do you actually pay retail for everything? What do you or do you try to negotiate a little bit on stuff?
Well, I think that the Best Buy analogy is really good because if you just took a little bit of extra due diligence, which again most people don't, that's what they count on, right? If you went to
Yeah,
three other department
yeah.
stores, they're going to see probably a different price on that. And it's crazy that people are just kind of the first, all right, well, it's here, it's convenient, whatever. So again, like with us, it allows us to have the convenience of one place, but we've already shopped all those 12 stores for you, and we've actually had a
Right.
way better way to negotiate that stuff. And so ultimately, we're looking
Love
same
this guy.
coverage, same price, 40% off in almost every case that we're doing it, and without sacrificing the trial, the coverage, or anything else. And so I
Yeah.
think it's the experience that you have as well of the years that you've been doing it. You know the way to do it, not to do it. And again, I can burn my hand all day long in the stove, or I can listen to you and say, just tell me the best way to do it. Now it's done. So you get the convenience of that immediate gratification without having to actually, get a PhD and, you know, all
Ex
the other things you need.
exactly, exactly. So, it looks like, Jan was asking about, the watches there. He said he started working for, Ray Kroc as well. He started his career I don't know, Jan, did you actually work directly for Ray? Or, did you just work like we did at some franchise? But anyways, that's a good question for him. But, have you ever seen the movie, where they created the whole McDonald's thing started? I don't remember, it was on Netflix or Prime a few years ago. Have you ever seen that,
Yeah,
Steven?
the line that everybody says I'm in the retail business or the real estate business, not the fast food business, right? And that
Yeah,
concept was,
yeah, and I don't know if people know or not, but McDonald's is one of the world's largest landowners,
yeah, wild.
a and it is amazing. Their process was brilliant, and, Michael what's his name that played, Michael Keaton played the somebody in I don't remember which guy, but I gotta go back and watch it. It was a good movie. I recommend it highly, you
Yep.
know?
But when it
But,
comes to, real estate location, it's the same reason that you can charge $5 or $10 for a water, in a AT&T stadium, and you could charge half a, 10 cents or whatever for it at a, 48 pack at Kroger. So it's all about the placement of where that is. And I think that they've done a great job with it for sure.
yeah, for sure. When you go to the grocery store, you're talking about Kroger or Publix or whatever store you're going to, the stuff that they have at your eye levels, the most expensive placed items, the stuff way up high and down low, they've paid the least. So, for me, it actually works out better for them because I'm much shorter than everybody. So I get to
You're
see
being
the stuff that
consistent. I love it. Yeah.
I'm I'm working it, baby.
Yeah.
And then anything up high, I usually look for somebody. I go, "Is there some tall person around here?" You know? I'm usually climbing
Or
up.
cereal, you could just throw the boxes up there and then have it kind of knocked down like one of those crane games. So
I've gotten really good at being able to, like, just jump up and tap something and it kinda falls and I catch it, I'm that crazy dude, and people are like, "What's that guy doing over there?" I've never dropped or broken anything, thank goodness, but at the end of the day, I wanna get what I need, right? And if nobody's around to help me, I how are you gonna do it, right?
make it happen.
You gotta improvise in life, right? And, what was your improvisation? What was your, like, biggest hack you've ever figured out in your little insurance business there that you really remember that just went, "Boom, this is gonna be huge?"
I'd say it was a product that we actually helped kind of create or get the wings down. It was basically on the same kind of concept that we had, where it was, the better we can have information, knowledge to the insurance companies, and better underwriting actuarial stuff that other people don't have access to is a huge competitive advantage, right? So it's this health management plan that we actually have a lot of information that we can actually take real results of actuarial knowledge of how the plan performed, lots of really cool tax advantages and stuff doing that as well. But that's kind of been our secret sauce of not only standing out in the space where everyone else is, but also in the space where we're the only player in the market. And that's been probably their biggest, to your question, kind of the aha moment, I guess, where saying like, this is truly the track to run on and all the different things that does.
Yeah. No, that's good. I've had, a few aha moments in my life, and one of those was getting rid of, tons of staff, when you get rid of this whole area and you realize that the future isn't going to be that,
Mhm.
and you're different from others doing that. I mean, it just was like light bulb. Maybe a little more work for me nowadays, but it's way more profitable to get rid of those saboteurs. That's what I call them. I call them saboteurs. And those saboteurs, they needed to go because you never know what they're saying. Man, you can have all these people in a boiler room and they're just talking smack. And I remember we would hire people that were working for rival companies. And I'd be like, okay, after, 6 months, I was like, okay, we can't do that anymore because they're just talking the smack that they talked at the other place. It was no different to them. And, some people would say, well, don't you want to hire people with experience? And go, absolutely not. Actually, I'd rather train them and give them really good habits instead of poor habits that they have been going from job to job to job at. So
Yeah.
with your hiring practices, what do you do that would be different? Do you hire people that come from other companies? Not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but do you hire people from other companies or do you like to hire brand new people that are green to train them and mold them and they could have your way of doing things?
So that's a great question, Kevin. We've done both. It started out where it was taking the greenest people that didn't even have a license and that didn't even know how to spell insurance and teaching that. And again, there's a lot of good that comes from that because now you can form them to create kind of the perfect person. They're not bringing in bad, cancerous habits from their places. But the
Exactly.
same sense of it, right now, what we're doing is we're, again, a lot of like what you're doing is we're partnering with a lot of big people that already know what they're doing. And so we're not necessarily needing to change them, bring them over and have them like can wear a hat, wear a shirt, wear a logo. We're able to just empower and find a way to work with so many different people, just again like with you and payroll companies and staffing agencies and things like that, where
Yeah,
it's the same end user that we're helping, and we're helping them together. And so if there's a need that they have for four different things, I think what you've done a great job with is kind of bringing in people that you have years and years of experience with to say, these are people that I trust. And if you trust me, you can trust them and know that the experience
exactly.
across the board. So there's a lot
Yeah,
of risk that comes with that. But that's really where we've really been at now. So again, we have thousands of agents across the country, staff, employees, enrollers. And at the end of the day, it's a combination of it. But I think as long as you set a good example and you basically are the best mentor, leader, and you speak with the way that you want to be treated, and it's what a cliche thing, but where this comes back to is so many different companies I worked for. A huge driving force for me is to never allow anyone to feel the way that I felt, and how we've seen companies treat other people. So I think if you just, again, doing the right thing and doing the best thing, long term it weeds itself out, and you'll have the people that are meant to be there.
I love it. Looks like, you're definitely using, like, what I call added value, and I love added value principles because you're not forcing people to do certain specific things. You're just creating an extra value of why you would work with those people or bring them on board. And then it becomes more of a community and a feeling of, wow, I'm really excited that I actually did that with those people. So it reinforces a lot of relationships. And that's relationships are everything for me. And if you've ever wanted to be part of the inner circle, it's not a easy thing to do in my world. I don't know about yours, but I could tell you that you bring in one bad apple and that cancer grows very quickly. And it's easy to remove, I'm sorry, it's easier to remove the negativity, but when the negativity comes in, that cancer grows so quickly that you could lose clients, you can lose a lot of different things in many different ways if you don't take control over it. And I've done that and got rid of negativity in my world. And it took a while. But at the end of the day, we've got to be helping people because people help people. And I love that's what you do in your company. And when I'm talking about people helping people, you do something very unique that I really enjoy, and I've been a part of myself. But you fly out all around the country to different offices that you have, and you take people out to dinner, or you take them out to, and I mean, everybody takes people out for dinner and stuff, but you go an extra little step. You're taking people, maybe, what is it, driving? What is that you do, like, wherever you're going?
Yeah, well, the two things I guess I'll kind of say is, the first thing is, like, any client of ours is always we're gonna do everything possible not only be a client back to them, but find somebody in our circle that can be a client. And so again, it's not just, basically every client that we get almost overnight is actually getting more revenue because of us than without us. And so that's, I think, a huge differentiator. And if you're looking to kind of separate yourself in a sales game, if your door pitch is saying, I potentially have money for you, by the way, I have something that you need, let's find a way to work together. And then if you're bringing that client so much business themselves, they're never going to leave you. And so I think that's a huge thing that you do a great job with too, Kevin. But yeah, I think the other part of it's, celebrating the people that have made your life, your business the way that it is. And so to take people that we enjoy with, that we're actually friends with, and have a business relationship, you can ask for better things. So yeah, we'll rent out racetracks, will do crazy, like, fun experiences that, again, like, they wouldn't normally do on a day-to-day basis. But because of the people across the country and different people, we have enough agents, people now, that allow us to do some really cool things at some really big venues. And it, again, just, it makes it experience so much more worthwhile for everybody.
Oh, yeah. No, and listen, if you go to, like, a track with Steven, that dude, he's not just letting you in either. I mean, he's
No,
like he's gonna beat your ass. I mean, he is definitely into having a good time with it too. Well, and I love that, it's called genuine. And I love that you're very genuine about that. And, listen, I love the fact that you took the opportunity to come on the Swypit Show here on the Success Network. And in fact, I introduced you one of our other great people on the Success Network. If you've ever heard of Jay Abraham, and Jay Abraham is a marketing genius out there. We had Steven on a call with Jay a couple months ago, and we're trying to work together on some different things. But Jay's an amazing marketing guy. And, when we're talking about marketing, I do some crazy stuff. If anybody's ever seen my commercial, me falling out of a plane and doing my TV commercial, I've seen some of yours, Steven, and you've got some crazy commercials out there. What made you think about making some of those crazy commercials for AffordaCare?
Well,
And I
because
think you may know what I'm talking about.
yeah, well, because what me and you both do, to be honest, is really, really freaking boring. It's like banking, insurance, that's just super lame stuff, right? So how do you
Yeah.
make it approachable? How do you make it have a face and a purpose and something to enjoy or whatever, right? And so I think what you guys do is awesome over there because it takes a boring concept and gives it actual personality. And I think if you can be as much of a person and take the sales part away, take all the formalities out, and just be who you are, because everyone is gonna find a way to say something bad about you over your life, right? But if you don't
Yeah.
change who you are and you have the people that are meant to be in your life be there, I think it'll be a life worth lived, and I think you're living it right now, Kevin.
Yeah. No, no. You're living life better than me. I mean, you're getting ready to you got some special ticket, man. That is Tell us a little bit about a special ticket you have and tell me what that means to you, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I think you're
Putting you
probably
on the spot a little bit there.
we got a couple of tickets to go to outer space. Probably the next year and a half, 2 years is when the actual event would happen. But we have a couple different other places and a couple seats, and so kind of the people that are going to be our biggest either agents or clients is kind of a way that we can not just take them golfing, but actually take them outer space. And so that's one
That's
of those
so
things
awesome.
where to look back, even 2-3 years ago, it would have been kind of crazy to have that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, things have really gone good. And again, it's about celebrating. It's not doing things for you. It's about taking the people along with you, literally out of this world.
It's phenomenal. I think it's awesome. I think it's gonna become a lot more mainstream in the future. I think the technology is there, and I think that we're just not right now it's a little expensive, right? Because, not everybody's doing it. It's kinda like airfare, you know? It
Yeah,
was a lot more expensive a long, long time ago, but now obviously more and more people. Now, unfortunately, the airlines are kinda taking advantage of us a little bit because of, they needed to make a little bit more money during 'cause, COVID. They got to pay the government back. Who knows what they're doing? They probably got lines of credits that they were, hurting with. But at the end of the day, there's an opportunity to do this, and I think it's awesome that you're doing it. Uh, I don't know if I would do it. I don't know. It's like scuba diving. I
yeah.
think
Well, no,
when
it's
you
like
go,
skydiving. You're just there, you're going a little bit higher. Other than that,
yeah.
it's exactly the
Well,
same.
scuba diving, they say, is just like being in outer space. So I'm good with going scuba diving. You're just kind of like and you're just, you got your buoyancy just right, you know, and it's awesome. That's why astronauts train in the water, right? Because it's buoyancy control.
Yeah,
So but I don't have a jetpack on my while I'm under the water trying to catch turtles and sharks or fish, But I think
yeah. Next time, let's go scuba diving in a couple months. All right,
we got
you
to do it. I love
you pick
Cozumel.
a place, and I'll bring the gear.
There we go. I got my own. I'm good there. I just
All
gotta
right.
get it looked at and everything. But, listen, you're, definitely one of those guys that I love to refer to people. I appreciate you coming on the Swypit Show here on the Success Network. We're gonna, before we, head out, where would someone go to contact you if they wanted to find out more about your organization?
So on the website, forticareinsurance.com, on the bottom it has a contact tab. It has all their different locations that you can, depending on wherever you're listening, you can get a hold of them. And yeah, whether it's just a quote for yourself, for your business, for your family, yeah, I mean, we'll have somebody there for you. And Kevin, I really appreciate you having me, and this has been great. I'm glad that we were able to get you back in the groove, and I hope this turns out to be a great thing with
Yeah,
Marshall.
no, thank you, thank you, thank you. Of course, Steven's very humble. He's helping others and doing a lot of things. He doesn't talk about those things, but we appreciate all that you're doing to help others. But what's important is that we have people like you out on the earth today, and keep up what you're doing. This is the Swypit Show, and of course, it's right here on the Success Network. We appreciate you, Stephen, at AffordaCare. And, Ryan, it's time for us to close this down today. If you liked the show today, please click the like button. If you want to share it, please share it. If you want to get a hold of me at the Swypit headquarters, you can go to swypit.com, check us out. But of course, thank you so much for being on today's show. And of course, remember to do what you want when you want.